In early 2021, I remember Godolphin Managing Director Vin Cox mentioning a colt by street boss from the Group 1 winning mare Anamoe as one of their standout two-year-olds for the season. Well, he was largely untapped at that time, but of course the rest, as they say, is history. As Anamoe, the colt went on to win an astonishing 9 Group 1s, and he's here at Darley Kelvinside in the Hunter Valley, where this season he joins a stellar roster of barnmates, including the triple Group 1 winner Bivouac, who has his first yearlings heading for the sales and beyond.
And the Super Stallion Anamoe races to the lead and kicked away.
He's a beautiful stallion, this horse, and he's a credit to his signer Sheikh Mohammed and his passion for racing horses around the world and his support of Australian racing.
And here he comes, Anamoe. He let loose in a stride.
Anamoe, this time for the big A.
Alistair, the Darley Stallion roster is exceptional. Of course, heading into spring, you have 17 stallions on the Australian roster, all of them Group 1 winners. It's quite a lineup.
It is an amazing lineup, one we're very proud of, one that's just studded with stars. We're very lucky that we get the opportunity to stand these stallions, elite stallions, elite racehorses from all over the world. We're very blessed to be able to offer them to breeders.
Well, we're going to look at one new boy, the absolute out-and-out champion, Anamoe, and we're also going to look at Bivouac, who was a triple Group 1 winner himself, a son of Exceed and Excel. And those two stallions, it's a little bit of chalk and cheese. Anamoe's the new boy here, and it's all very new for him. And Bivouac, he's letting down into almost a pea in the pod of his sire, Exceed and Excel.
Absolutely. Both wonderful racehorses for the Godolphin team in Australia. Anamoe, of course, is the most prolific Group 1 winner for Sheikh Mohammed and Godolphin worldwide with his 9 Group 1 wins. But Bivouac, going into his 3rd season, what a horse he was, and that's only a couple of seasons ago, but he was a dominant sprinter of his time.
Anamoe is coming at Forbes. They reach the line. Anamoe!
Starting with Anamoe, I mean, he was a pre-Christmas 2-year-old stakes winner, won the Merson Cooper. What was the talk about Anamoe before he embarked on that Sydney autumn campaign?
Well, he was such a good horse because you've got to remember he's a 16th of November foal, so he's not an early foal. He actually won the Merson Cooper on the 14th of November, so 2 days before he had officially turned 2. So he was just a naturally talented horse. To look at the horse, he doesn't look precocious. He's a beautiful, elegant, classy sort of horse, but he just had so much natural ability, and obviously that showed very early on in his career.
Well, in the elite 2-year-old races of that Sydney Autumn Carnival, of course, he won the Todman Stakes and he really had to dig deep there to hold off Home Affairs and Profiteer and stay inside. Of course, he reversed the positions in the Golden Slipper, but the way Anamoe raced from near last in that slipper was simply outstanding.
Absolutely. Well, he drew very wide in the slipper and came from a completely hopeless position, and he fully made amends for that in his next start in the Sires, where he was absolutely dominant. He towed them up in the Sires, and I think James McDonald said that was probably his most impressive win. He still remembers back to that because he was absolutely arrogant that day.
Anamoe and Captive on stride for stride. Anamoe the stronger. Anamoe won the Guineas from Captive on Artorias.
Take us through that day. How important do you think his early racing in Melbourne was to sort of helping him on that day? But either way, he still was the outstanding colt of his generation.
He knew his way around Caulfield well, and he was clearly the best 3-year-old, and Oliver rode him like the favourite, and he was just never not going to win, I don't think. I was very confident that day anyway.
But then the Cox Plate of 22.
We just knew how good a horse we had. There's not many 3-year-olds have been able to do it in a Cox Plate, and he was so close under difficult circumstances. So he lost nothing, certainly in our eyes, and I don't think in anyone's eyes that day.
But this is the best of Anamoe today.
He smashed him in the Rosehill Guineas. He was absolutely dominant that day. just cleared out from him, and you just thought, wow, what a good horse he is.
But that spring of 22, very few horses managed that streak of success. The Winx first up, the George Main, Caulfield Stakes, and then of course the Cox Plate.
That was reminiscent of a Winx campaign. He was just just from stepping stone to stepping stone to stepping stone. Weight for age, all the best horses lining up every second week against him, and he was the dominant one, and he was now truly a Group 1 weight for age star from 7 furlongs up to 10 furlongs.
Anamoe holding on, Anamoe, this time for the big A, won it from Oak Thunderstruck El Bodegon.
Group 1 win, number 8 for the Great Anamoe.
And the autumn, the next autumn, of course, of this year, in 23, the Apollo into the Chipping Norton, and the race call and the champion horse winning and people being so happy about it. It creates such a big following for these horses.
It sure does, and Anamoe earned his own, has earned his own following. That's why we go to the races, to see these stars, and we were just so lucky to have Anamoe, continue his form and absolutely be the dominant weight for age horse as a 4-year-old. Actually, Paul Reed, who's assistant trainer at Osborne Park, he said Anamoe lifted the whole team. So Reedy put it down to the fact that everyone does their job just that much better because of a star like Anamoe. He's just got so much quality. So he's got that beautiful head, great length of rein. He's terrifically well balanced. He's got a lovely depth of girth. He stands over ground, but he's not too long. He's got a lovely hip, and he just is the best mover at efficient stride, whatever it happens to be. He's an ultimate elite thoroughbred.
Street Boss, can throw more at the sprinty, certainly early 2-year-old types. Anamato, his dam by Redoubt's Choice, she won the Australasian Oaks, so it's a really interesting matchup. He's going to be a very versatile stallion.
Plans are still being finalised, but and even in Godolphin, we're still finalising our plans. But mares like Guelph and Kiamichi and some really high-class mares are going to visit Anamoe in his first season. So he is going to get every opportunity from the breeders, and so he should.
Bivouac's off and gone though.
And Anamoe, of course, as we mentioned, is joining Bivouac, who's now had the 2 good books of mares already under his belt. And it's that wait and see time, isn't it, as they're heading off to the yearling sales in the next sale series?
Yeah, obviously exciting times for Bivouac. He's so much like his father. Almost career path he's like his father, because Exceed and Excel, he won the Group 2 Todman Stakes as a 2-year-old. Bivouac won the Group 3 Kindergarten Stakes. That was a really good win. That was on Sire's Produce Day at the Championships, and I remember Blake Shin got off Bivouac having won on him and said, this is a really, really good horse. He had just missed out on a run in the Golden Slipper. He was that class. He was certainly that class. He won the Vane first up by streets, by panels, went to the Run to the Rose, won that, and won the Golden Rose, bidding Yes, 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 who then went on to win an Everest. He was right up there as a sprinter in the spring, came back in the autumn, of course won a Newmarket, as his father did, and in dominant fashion, absolutely licked him that day.
Bivouac's won the Newmarket easily.
Unlike Exceed and Excel, he stayed in training. We kept him going. He's such a good-tempered horse. He's such an easy horse to get along with. So he came out at 4, and of course he won the Sprint Classic at Flemington, the weight for age Group 1 down the straight, and he smashed Nature Strip no less that day. And then he was rated the best sprinter in the world that year, the best in the world. So Nature Strip was behind him. Batage from England, the best of the English horses, was behind him. The Americans weren't there. He was world best. That says something about how good Bivouac was.
Such great Godolphin depth to this family.
It is. It's basically our foundation family, because Canny Miss and Camarina were among the first mares that Sheikh Mohammed invested in Australia, and we've really produced a dynasty out of those mares. His mother, Dazzler by More Than Ready, she won a couple of races, but she had a lot of ability. She didn't really get to show what she could do. Of course, the grandmother, Camarilla, bred by us but sold to the Inghams as a yearling, was a Group 1 winner herself, and by Elusive Quality, who's a really positive influence in pedigrees, a real fast influence, high quality. Of course, Canny Miss, the 4th dam, is the sister to Canny Lad, who's the broodmare sire of Redoubt's Choice, and I'm Invincible, so plenty of recommendations in terms of pedigree. Probably the best filly on the farm at Woodlands is the 3/4 sister to Cylinder by Bivouac. She's an outstanding filly. He's been very well supported by Godolphin with high quality mares, consistently nice horses. We've got lifetime breeding right holders in him, over 30 of them. The best breeders, the Yarraman Park, the Widdens, Sledmares, Little Avondale and Cambridge from New Zealand. There's a raft of them that have all backed this horse because they knew how good he was. It's what we're about, is offering the best horses, and whether they've raced in the Northern Hemisphere or the Southern Hemisphere, that's what we want to do. Now, probably it's up to the horses to make themselves the stallions, but now their progeny have got to do it.